So in today's Delta Force video, I want to talk about something a little bit less fun than usual. Now, I know that might sound a little grim, but I want to talk about the matchmaker in Delta Force. Now, issues with the matchmaker I've noticed over my past play sessions, getting footage for videos and stuff like that, where lobbies just simply don't fill up. And the weird thing is, it's not every match, it's like very sporadic, and I don't understand why. Now, the current player numbers, I'm looking at Steam charts right now. Playing an hour ago was 52k players on Steam alone, and then the 24-hour peak was 183,659, which is no small number. And taking into consideration that the game does have crossplay, I think it's not unreasonable to even double that number or potentially even more to get an accurate representation of how many players are playing Delta Force on a daily basis. Which brings me to the question of why do the lobbies take forever to fill up? Now in this screenshot here, and this is, one of many matches that I've experienced, after 10 minutes of play, there was only 7v7 in the lobby, which results in obviously very boring gameplay because there's basically no one across the map. You simply can't find enemies for prolonged periods of time, making the game feel, or at least those matches feel, very boring. Not only feel, they are boring because there's just nothing happening. Players are just going around capping flags, there's no engagements anywhere, and for me personally, it makes getting footage incredibly difficult because, when you're trying to get weapon builds out there and stuff like that, if there's nobody to down or fight with those weapons, the videos would be incredibly boring. And you'd think that with such a healthy player base, lobbies would fill up quickly, but when you're queuing in and it says like 63 out of 64 or 64 out of 64, that's just filling up a specific queue as far as I understand, and then it dispatches those players into potentially multiple lobbies. I don't 100% understand how their matchmaker works, but having that number indicator up there, most people would be led to believe that, oh, I'm going to be put in a full lobby because there's enough players to populate a full match of Delta Force with 32v32, but that's not the reality of things. And I don't understand why it doesn't function that way, where there's enough players to fill up a lobby, then it automatically fills up that lobby as soon as you start playing, instead of progressively filling that lobby over the course of the match, which for the most part, a lot of the times one match gets absolutely skewed in favor of either team because potentially there's a stronger player, and considering that there's a lot less players on the team, having a really strong player on a team of 7v7 will more than likely skew the match in their favor, and then by the time the lobbies finally get filled up, which a lot of the times they don't, it'll max out at like 24v24 maybe, which is okay, but you want that chaotic action for the most part, and you're just not getting that. And as I said, when you have a really strong player and such a small number of players in the match already, chances are when it starts getting filled up, the match is already won because one team is so far ahead of the other team because the stronger player is just dominating anyone he comes into contact with when he does, and then you just get a majority cap and the tickets start bleeding or start counting up for one team a lot quicker than the other. And I wanted to bring this up because I think over the long term, it will definitely be a detriment to the player base because, when you have just a regular casual player playing Delta Force and, 3-4 matches in one of their play sessions, they're getting put into lobbies that basically don't fill up, that are less than half full, they're going to start looking at other games to play, because nobody really wants to be in a lobby where there's not much happening at all. Now, there's a caveat to everything that I'm saying. Even though the player base is quite large, a large majority of them might be playing operations. I don't know. I don't play operations, but from what I've heard, queue times in operations are also quite lengthy. Maybe they're playing Hot Zone. I've never played Hot Zone. Again, I don't know what the queue times are. If you do, please chime in the comment section down below. I want to get a better picture of what the representation of players is on a mode per mode basis. But this being said, I definitely think they need to take a closer look at the matchmaker and how lobbies are filled versus how it is right now, because it's just not fun. I know I've beaten this horse to death at this point in this video. It's not fun playing in empty lobbies. There's just nothing happening. You don't really use your weapons. You don't really level them up because you're not getting kills, and it just results in a very lackluster and honestly mind-numbing experience when you're just put in the same lobbies that are basically empty over and over again. So that'll be it for today's video. I just wanted to touch on this topic because it's something that has come up a lot in, as I said, my recent play sessions. If you've been having a similar experience, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see how many people have been having this experience. If you're on mobile, PC, console, doesn't matter, leave it all down there. And hopefully the devs see this video and take the feedback to heart. In any case, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.